Good morning, students. I am Professor S.R. Saste. In today's lecture of G203, that is Principles of Plant Biotechnology, we will be learning about different types of in vitro cultures that are there in the plant tissue culture. So in plant tissue culture, various cultures exist, which are known as callus culture, suspension culture, root tip culture, leaf culture, shoot tip culture, complete flower culture, anther and pollen culture, ovule and embryo culture, and protoplast culture. If you see all these cultures, you will know that most of the cultures are derived from the type of explant used for initiating that culture. For example, root, shoot, complete flower, anther, ovule. All these cultures are organ cultures, while rest of the cultures are derived from the type of tissue which is forming in the culture, like callus, suspension, single cell, protoplast. All these cultures are specialized kinds of cultures. We'll learn them one by one. So first of all, we'll learn about callus. What is callus? Callus is an unspecialized, unorganized mass of cells. So it is dividing mass of cells. It is produced whenever we put the explants, we culture the explants on an appropriate solid media, which is supplemented with equal concentration of auxins and cytokinin. Or in some cases, we also add a callus inducing hormone, which is a 2,4-D in the culture media. So during callus formation, there is some degree of dedifferentiation occurs. Dedifferentiation is what? Whenever we culture any plant tissue culture part in a culture media, that mature plant part goes into the meristematic state, starts dividing. So that process is known as dedifferentiation, where mature plant parts become immature. They get converted into a immature form of cells. So both in morphology and metabolism, resulting in the loosening of ability to photosynthesize. That's why this mass of callus looks pale white or creamy in color. Now, depending on the association of cells together, the calluses are divided into two types. One is compact callus and another is friable callus. Compact callus shows densely aggregated cells, where cells are very densely associated, and that's why its loosening or its cutting will be quite difficult compared to friable callus. In friable callus, the cells are arranged very loosely, and that's why their dissociation into the liquid media becomes very easier. That's why it also breaks very easily. All these callus tissues, whenever they are cultured for very long term, they generally lose their ability to require the auxins and cytokinins in the media. So the process is known as habituation. That means if you culture it for longer time in a test tube or in a media, the addition of auxins and cytokinin is no longer needed when they becomes the habituated to culture conditions. In callus culture, the three processes are required. The first process is aseptic preparation of plant material. Then second is selection of suitable nutrient medium supplemented with equal concentration of auxin and cytokinin. And the third process is incubating these culture bottles, culture tubes under suitable controlled conditions. So first of all, the first step requires the explant, aseptic preparation of plant material, where this tissue is generally surface sterilized with certain chemicals. Then in the second step, you need a suitable nutrient medium. You have to transfer this explant on a nutrient medium supplemented with equal concentration of auxin and cytokinin. That causes your tissue to develop a callus, unorganized proliferative mass of cells. When you incubate this callus culture in a dark condition and further transfer it on a medias containing higher auxin, lower cytokinin, or higher cytokinin, lower auxin concentration, it develops roots and shoots as per the concentration of auxin and cytokinin added in the media. So this is the principle of callus culture. Now R.J. Gottret and P. Nopkert scientists, they have first performed the experiment of callus culture in carrot. So for that we need a carrot. We have to cut the carrot into slices. These slices were added into water. We have to rinse it properly to remove all the dirt and soil attached to it. Then we need to treat it with sodium hypochlorite solution. Sodium hypochlorite is a germicidal bactericidal solution. After treating with several washes of sodium hypochlorite, we need to again add these pieces into double distilled water bottle, and these pieces or these slices were then cultured in a laminar airflow in a petri dish containing the culture media. By trimming it further, by cutting the xylem, cambium and phloem. The tissue between xylem and phloem is cut with the help of scalpel inside laminar airflow, and this cube is generally the cube of 0.2 micron cubic. Explant is then cultured in a media containing the proper concentration of auxin and cytokinin. The culture is incubated at 25 degrees Celsius for 6 to 8 weeks. After that, this small portion gets converted into mass of callus. So this is the protocol for developing a callus using carrot tissue. It's a simple procedure. We have a practical based on this. I will upload the video of the practical after we finish with theory syllabus. Now you can also initiate the callus using leaf disc culture. What you need a leaf of any plant. You need a cork borer to make a punches into the leaf, and these punches are generally sterilized using chemicals like sodium hypochlorite, and then they were cultured on a test tube containing nutrient media. So this picture depicts the growth of leaf disc on a culture media and how the size gets increased. So this is a 0-day picture, this is 5-day picture, this is 10-day, and after 15 days the size of this mass starts increasing, and you will start observing the development of callus. Now in development of callus, you need a proper concentration of two hormones, that is auxin and cytokinin. Ratio of auxin and cytokinin is very much effective in developing the callus mass. Intermediate ratio, that means the equal ratio of auxin and cytokinin generally give rise to callus mass. While if you want to carry out the organogenesis, if you want to develop the shoots and roots out of callus, you have to adjust the concentration of auxin and cytokinin. For example, in this case, the cytokinin is added in larger quantity and auxin is in a lower concentration. In next image, where only roots are developed, then their auxin is increased in the media and cytokinin is added in lower concentration. That's why auxin causes the promotion of roots, cytokinin causes the promotion of shoots. This is how auxin and cytokinin ratio determines the organogenesis fate of a callus. Now once the callus is established, after a few days it needs to be transferred to a fresh media once the old media is completely exploited. That's why to maintain the viability of cells. So this process is of transferring the callus mass from old medium to new medium is called as subculturing. Generally this kind of subculturing will be done at an interval of 4 to 6 weeks. Within 4 to 6 weeks, the callus will utilize all the nutrient material from the media for its own growth. It will deplete the entire media for the nutrition, and that's why it needed a new medium, culture media, to be grown further. That's why we need to remove it from old media bottle and we have to add it into new media bottle. After maximum growth transfer into potling soil under the required condition. Once you done with all the subculturing cycles, you finally go for organogenesis and finally you generate the plant using callus culture. Now what are the applications of callus culture? Generally callus culture is used for organogenesis, that means to develop a whole plant from large number of callus tissues through manipulation of nutrients and hormonal constituents in the culture media. That means you can get many number of plants using callus culture. Then secondly, we use it for somatic embryogenesis to produce the numerous somatic embryos. By manipulating the nutrient and hormonal constituents within the media, the cluster of embryos can be achieved directly from a somatic cells of callus tissue. These embryos are called somatic embryos. They directly give rise to whole plant. So final outcome is complete plantlet. Callus tissue is good source of genetic or karyotype variability. That means if you want to develop any mutation within the culture, callus tissue is very much good example or good source of creating variability. So it may be possible to regenerate a plant from genetically variable cells of the callus tissue. You can add any mutating agent within the callus mass so as your cells will get mutated and you can create the variability or mutant phenotypes. Then getting the cell suspension culture in moving liquid media can be initiated using callus as an initial material. So for creating suspension culture, cell culture, the callus culture is the first step to obtain the cell suspension cultures and single cell cultures. Callus culture is very useful to obtain the commercially important secondary metabolites. Primary metabolites and secondary metabolites are there in the culture. Secondary metabolites, these are the metabolites which are not needed for the growth of plantlet. They are just secreted out of certain organs like roots or stem or any kind of plant tissue. So generally these kinds of important secondary metabolites, pharmaceutically important secondary metabolites can be obtained from callus culture. It can be also used for several biochemical assays can be performed using callus culture. For example, certain toxicologic compounds can be tested on a callus culture. Before their lethal dosage can be checked using callus culture. How toxic or how lethal that particular compound is, you can check it on a callus culture. So all these are the applications of callus culture. Now next to the callus culture, there is a suspension culture. It's again a cell culture. Plant tissues and cells cultured in a liquid media produce a suspension of single cells and cell clumps or cell aggregates of few to many cells. These are called suspension cultures. Generally what happens whenever you put the callus mass, friable callus mass in a liquid media, you agitate it continuously or constantly agitate it, generally at the 100 to 250 rpms per minute. It will facilitate the aeration and dissociation of cell clumps into smaller pieces. So all your callus mass dissociates and forms numerous single cells and cell clumps which are completely dissociated, suspended in a liquid media, and it generally becomes the suspension culture. Now suspension cultures grow much faster than the callus cultures and need to be subcultured about every week. Callus growth is very slow. You need 6 to 8 weeks for a callus mass to grow up to certain size. But in suspension culture, as all the cells are getting uniform nutrient availability in the liquid media, that's why suspension culture grows very fast than the callus culture, and it needs subculturing about every. Suspension cell culture, a type of culture in which cells and or clumps of cells grow and multiply while suspended in a liquid media. Why it is important? It gives you a faster culture replication. It has rapidly dividing cells. That's why it is very much easier to scale up the production of suspension cells. Then homogeneous cells or cell aggregates are there in the suspension culture. It is generally suspended in a liquid media, so no need to add the agar or solidifying agent. And if you purify it further, you can finally get a cell line, single cell line out of suspension culture. So all these are the important points for going for creating suspension culture in a tissue culture. When cell suspension culture, when callus pieces are agitated in liquid media, they generally tend to break up due to present in a liquid media. They generally dissociate from each other and they form a small clumps and single cells. Suspensions are much easier to bulk up than callus since there is no manual transfer or solid support. That's why cells are freely growing in a liquid media. They usually grow in size very fast as compared to callus culture. Large scale commercial fermentations of chiconin and berberine, these are the commercial examples of suspension culture. Around 50,000 liters of these secondary metabolites can be produced in a commercial fermentations in a bioreactor using cell suspension culture. This is the principle of suspension culture. The starting material you need is callus, a friable callus which is loosely arranged and can be dissociated into mass of cells, small single cells in the flask. You need a rotating shaker for it. You need liquid media. This callus is aseptically added into liquid media in laminar airflow, and then it is agitated continuously after closing the lid of flasks. Finally, all the cells get separated due to agitation of the liquid media and dissociation of cells, and all these suspended cells are then further subcultured by removing it from the earlier flask into a new flask which is having a fresh media. This can be achieved by a rotary shaker attached within the incubator at a rate of 50 to 150 rpm. Generally, this is the scheme of producing suspension cultures. You can start with the fresh explant like a leaf or any kind of plant part, sterilizing it, cutting it and putting it on a solid media, incubating it for almost about 2 to 6 weeks. Then you will develop a callus culture, and these callus cultures were further added into liquid media, chopped callus or friable callus, and after every 1 to 2 weeks you can get the cell suspension culture bulking up. Then you can further separate these cells from suspension culture by either filtering it or decanting it or addition of pectinase enzyme, which will dissociate the cells from cell clumps, and finally you will get a fine cell suspension culture where only single cells are suspended in a liquid media. So this is the scheme of the procedure to initiate a cell suspension culture. Now the first process of filtering out is using a small sieves for filtering the suspension culture. You can use the large pore sieves or small pore sieves to filter out the single cells. This is a mixture of large aggregates and single cells, while this is the suspension of only single cells. So single cell clones can be obtained using suspension culture. You can plate it out and again you can repeat the procedure. So this is a friable callus. You put it in liquid media. You dissociate it on a putting it on a rotary shaker. A rotary shaker causes the cells to break. Then you again put this into a filter. You only filter out single cells. Whatever big clumps are there, you can again put them back into first flask, and they are again agitated further by addition of pectinase or by just increasing the RPM of shaker. You can again dissociate these cells into single cells. So these are the images of cell suspension culture starting from a callus. Now in suspension culture, there are 3 types of cultures involved. One is batch culture, another is continuous culture, and third is the immobilized culture. In batch culture, generally the cell material grows in a finite volume of agitated liquid media. Usually you have a single flask or a bioreactor in which you have to add liquid media, you have to add cells. You allow that to ferment for a particular time frame, and after that you have to take out everything, media and your cells, out of that vessel or out of that bioreactor. This is called as batch culture. While in continuous culture, your fermenter has two inlets and outlets. Inlet is there for adding the fresh liquid media, while outlet is there for removing the old liquid media. So generally old liquid media is continuously replaced by a fresh liquid medium to stabilize the physiological growth of growing cells. That is called as continuous culture. The meaning is there is a continuous provision of fresh media into the bioreactor. While in immobilized culture, the cells are immobilized into particular bags or particular immobilized columns. So generally cells are immobilized, but media is free flowing. That means media is easily available. So generally the cells are packed either in a kind of bag which is permeable to media. So the medium can come inside the bag. Cells can utilize that media and can grow in size. And your bag is freely suspended in a liquid media. So here the culture is known as immobilized culture because of the immobilization of cells on particular support system. Now these are the few images of batch versus continuous culture. In batch culture you have a single bioreactor which is completely closed system. You add the media, you add the cells and allow it to settle, allow it to ferment, and after that by centrifugation methodology allow the cells to settle down at the bottom. Whatever media is there you can decant that media and you get the cell mass, pellet of cells. In continuous culture, there is inlet for fresh media, outlet for old media. So generally, whatever cells are there which have produced particular type of secondary metabolite, they are being grown continuously in the same flask. There is no need to decant the entire media. So this is called as continuous culture. Now why all these cultures are very important? Because suspension culture is used to produce the various kinds of secondary metabolites. One of that metabolite is your vinblastine, vincristine and ajmalicine. All these secondary metabolites are produced from Catranthus roseus, and that is Sadafuli in Marathi. So they are generally used to treat Hopkins disease or leukemia and are very expensive. Generally almost 1000 to 3500 euros per kg. So how they are being produced? You can take the part of this plant, you can go for callus establishment, and after callus you can go for cell suspension culture in big bioreactors of almost 50,000 liters to 1 lakh liters, and you can get the continuous production of these kinds of secondary metabolites. So this is the schematic diagram or schematic figure of producing nicotine or tobacco secondary metabolites. So you have to first collect the leaf explants, go for their callus generation, cell suspension culturing, scale up the cell suspension culture on a flask, in a flask or bioreactor, and then downstream processing. Once the particular secondary metabolite is leached out in a liquid media, collect that media, process it further, purify, and then whatever protein produced are in the using this liquid media, they are then further purified and sold as a particular secondary metabolite. There is another example of vincaminer, which produces vincamine and its derivatives, which are very much helpful for treating the cerebral vasodilation. So this plant again is very much important for producing the secondary metabolite. So this is the process of plant cells and tissue cultures: initiation, callus tissue, then suspension culture. So this is the pathway of creating suspended cells. Why this suspension culture is important is usually for studying the cell physiology, biochemistry and metabolic events at the level of individual cells and small cell aggregates. It is also useful for isolation of cell lines, pure cell lines. It can be used for in vitro mutagenesis to obtain the desirable mutants and for production of secondary metabolites. Now the third type of culture, cell culture, is single cell culture. Now single cell culture is a method of growing isolated single cells aseptically on a nutrient medium under controlled conditions. Now instead of growing a mass of cell or clumps of cell, we generally go for growing single cells in single cell culture. The principle is same. You need callus tissue, liquid media, and then you have to agitate the flask containing the liquid media and callus. The finally cells will be separated. You need to filter out the cells, and or you have to isolate the cells using fluorescent activated cell sorter system, and then you have to culture it on a nutrient medium. Now there are two types of popular techniques used for single cell culturing. The first technique is Bergmann's plating technique, in which the cells are suspended in a liquid media. The sterilized agar media is kept melted in a water bath at 35 degrees Celsius. Equal volume of liquid and agar media are mixed and spread in 1 mm thick layer in the petri dish. What you do actually in this culture, you need a agar media, molten media, in a petri dish or in a flask, and you need an equal amount of your cells. So cells and liquid media is added together. Media is not yet solidified, so still it is in liquid state at 35 degrees Celsius. So whenever you add liquid media into the cells, the cells will get suspended in the media, and when you put it into petri dish, generally 1 mm thick layer will be developed. The cells remains embedded in a soft agar media, which is observable under microscope. So once the media gets solidified, cells remain embedded within the agar media, and you can see through it using a microscope. When large colonies develop, they are isolated and cultured separately. So this is called as Bergmann's plating technique, where your cells are suspended in liquid media, but not a liquid media. It becomes solid afterwards. So your cells are there embedded within the soft agar, and they are cultured on a petri plate. In the second thing or second methodology, we use filter paper raft nurse tissue technique, in which single cells are placed on small pieces of filter paper, usually 8 by 8 millimeter of size, and which are placed on the top of callus culture several days in advance. This allows the filter paper to be weighted by callus tissue. Generally what we do, we take the culture bottle having callus tissue. We put the 8 by 8 mm filter paper, sterilized filter paper onto the callus, which will cause the filter paper to get weighted. And then the single cells are placed on the filter paper, derive their nutrition from the callus. The cells divide and form microscopic colonies on the filter paper, and the colonies are then being isolated and cultured further. So it's actually a nurse tissue technique, where callus mass will act as a donor kind of tissue, which will provide the upper cells or the filter paper cells a nutrition from its own cell, thereby giving them the growth and nutrients and supporting them to form colonies. Now these are a few pictures. Procedure for obtaining single cell clones using petri dish plating technique. So this is a callus tissue added in the liquid media, formed a fine single cell suspension. It is then added in the liquid media. It is then poured into a petri plate containing the media plus cells together, allowed to settle down, allowed to solidify, and you will observe the colonies or observe the cells embedded within the agar. In the second technique, single cells were taken, they were added onto the filter paper. Filter paper is placed onto callus tissue, and generally these cells grows in size by deriving the nutrition from below callus mass. And then we can further culture, remove it from the filter paper, and can culture on a fresh media bottle or fresh media tube. The third type of culture is also exist, in which we generally culture them on a slide. A specialized kind of micro chamber is there, in which we can add the liquid media within both the chambers, and we can add the single cells into the chamber. And this slide is generally incubated, and we can observe this slide every day under the microscope for the growth of single cells or single cell clones. And further, these single cells clone can be further cultured on a nutrient media bottle to get converted them into the whole plant. So this is called as micro chamber technique of growing the single cells. Now what are the different applications of this single cell culture? It is successfully used to obtain the single cell clones. That means the all cells are of same type within that culture. So it is called a single cell clone culture. Plants could be regenerated from callus tissues derived from single cell clones. The occurrence of high degree of spontaneous variability or mutations in the cultured tissue and their exploitation through single cell culture is very much important in relation to crop improvement programs. If you want to create a crop varieties which are having a mutation which is a positive and positive mutation or positive variability, so it can lead to crop improvement program. Isolated single cells can be handled as microbial system for treatment of mutagens and for the nutrient selection. Then synthesis of several times higher amounts of alkaloids or secondary metabolites can be obtained using single cell culture than the alkaloid content in the intact plant. Therefore, large scale production of such compounds from single cells is possible. Usually intact plant produces very less amount of alkaloids or secondary metabolites, but whenever we go for producing suspension or single cell cultures of these tissues or these plants, generally they yield very higher amount of alkaloids and secondary metabolites. Then it is also used for biotransformation, converting particular precursor molecules into useful chemicals known as biotransformation using the plant cells. Then it is also used to achieve the polyploidy levels in cells, means diploid to tetraploid, tetraploid to hexaploid, octaploid. Obtaining the multiple chromosome numbers using single cell culture by treating it with certain chromosome doubling agents like colchicine is very easy for single cell cultures. So all these are the applications of single cell culture. Here we will stop as